Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great one from 10 years after today, the late great Alvin Lee. We're going to do I'd Love to Change the World. So this one has a very cool little haunting arpeggiated chord sequence. Very, very cool. And then it goes into just a really simple chord progression after that he plays a couple different ways on the song, so I'll show both. And then we have this solo that goes for most of the song. There's fills going on, and there's a long extended. It's Alvin Lee, so you have to do that. Now, I'm not going to show that solo note for note. So if you're here for that, I don't have that. But I am going to show you what he's doing. So you can improvise your own thing, which is what he's doing anyway. He's kind of improvising. You'll probably never see it. He probably never performed it the same way twice. And he was a great improviser. But it's not a very complex way of looking at the fretboard of what he's doing there. So I'm going to break that down for you. I'm not going to switch to electric. I'm just going to keep it acoustic here the whole lesson. So I'll show you what he's doing. Yeah, I know he's improvising on electric, but I'm going to do it on acoustic. I'm going to suffer playing acoustic because it's a 20-minute setup. Switch from going acoustic to electric. So I do not want to deal with that today. So I'm just going to suffer through and show it to you on acoustic. Anyway, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell. Support your favorite guitar YouTuber. Come on, man. Just click like and subscribe these people if they have, join the Guitar Academies if they have one. Even if it's me or somebody else, I don't care. Man. We got to keep this whole genre going on YouTube. If you're interested in my academy, you'll see a link to that description below. It's a YouTube only link. Gives you 40% off my annual subscription. And if you've never had an account, get a free 7-day trial. So click that link below. And even during the trial, you have full access to my entire academy, from all my courses, from one for complete beginners to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training theory, guitar tone. I have weekly live streams with just academy members. We have a great community forum there. And you get personalized support from me beyond that. So come over and check it out. Let's jump into this. I'm in standard tuning, and we're going to start with this really cool arpeggiated chord sequence. So this is there's not a lot going on with the rhythm guitar. There's a lot of repetition. That sequence stays the exact same way throughout the whole song, and then he goes into a simple chord progression. I'm going to give you a little bit of a theory lesson in this, since there's not a ton being changed up, thrown at us musically. It gives me a little opportunity to explain really kind of how minor keys work a little bit. I thought that'd be a good idea. And then when we get to the solo, we get to really kind of talk about a little bit about visualization, a little bit of theory there too. So let's jump into this. So it's going to start off, this chord progression, for the most part, is in natural minor, E natural minor, except for the last chord, which is a B7 chord. So that's going to come out of harmonic minor. So we're going to basically call it mostly just, everything is E minor though. So I'm going to show you that he's going to change things up a little bit throughout the song. You'll be like, wow, how does that chord work? And I'll tell you why. So let's start though with just E minor. So you just hold a basic E minor chord. So you hold the second fret on the A and the D, and you're gonna pick the low E string, the A string, D, G. So basically picking across that E minor chord. Then he does a little chromatic run up to this G here. So that's just 0, 1, 2, 3 on the low E string. So as soon as you get here, you're going to hold a G major chord. So this is the G major chord that has the open B string. So not the one that's got the held there at the 3rd fret. So we basically have so you can just grab that chord as you pick across. You don't have to go hold the whole thing. So that's the 3rd fret on the low E, 2nd fret on the A, open D, open G. You're gonna have the open B, and then you're gonna have the 3rd fret there on the high E string. Now the picking is, so as soon as you get to that 3rd fret there, that's where we're gonna go from there. So you're holding that G now. You're gonna pick now across the low E, A, D, G. And then you're gonna skip, you're gonna go up to the high E string, back to the open G, then the B string, then back to the G string. And then you're going to finish this by picking the 6th string one more time. So that makes sense when you play it with everything together. All right, now from there, it goes to an A minor chord. So make note, we're going to an A minor chord. So this is the 4 chord in E minor. If you don't understand chord progressions, I'm going to give you a little bit of a minor key chord progression lesson here, but I have a full course on chord progressions in my academy that goes from major key chord, so you can understand what a major key chord progression is, how to make something a minor key chord progression, why minor keys are generally more sophisticated sounding. We'll touch on that a little bit today. And then it goes into chromatic harmony and everything. So you'll truly understand how chords and harmony work in music and how to make cool chord progressions on your own that don't sound completely boring. Anyway, let's just jump in this. So we go to this A minor chord. So just this typical A minor, 1st fret on the B, 2nd on the G, 2nd on the D, open A. So just those 4 middle strings you're gonna pick across. So you're gonna pick the A string, D, G, B. So far we have this. From there, we're gonna go. So that's going to be another chromatic thing that starts on the A string this time. So 0, 1, 2, 3 on the A string, and that leads us into a C major chord. So the C major, just a standard C major, is that 3rd fret there on the A, 2nd on the D, open G, and 1st fret there on the B. So as soon as you get to this here, the picking is going to be across this C major chord, A string, D string, G string, B string, back to the G. So all right, so far. And then we're going to end it with a B7 chord. This is a B dominant 7. It's just on the 4 middle strings here. So that's this. So this B dominant 7 chord, it's got a D sharp in it. So E natural minor is a D natural. So that's telling us that it has moved to E harmonic minor for this chord. So the reason why minor keys sound more sophisticated than major keys is because you have more scale sources to choose from. So typical minor key chord progression can freely choose chords from E natural minor, E harmonic minor, and E melodic minor. And Alvin does all 3. Most of it's based around natural minor, and then he'll do something like this, based off a harmonic minor, or melodic. And then at the same thing later on in the song, he's going to change that A minor chord to an A major chord. And so that means he's pulling that 4 chord instead of out of natural minor, he's pulling it out of the melodic minor scale. Now, when we're talking about chord progressions, we don't actually say, hey, this is a melodic minor chord progression or harmonic minor chord. We just say it's just minor, all right? So it's just understood when if you say something's an E minor, you can choose chords. You can have a minor chord in it, so a minor 4 chord, or you can have a major 4 chord. You can have a major 3 chord or augmented. So I'm sorry, the 3 chord here, you can be G major or G augmented. It's all depending on what scale source you want to choose from. So anyway, so far that was the last one. So that's the 2nd fret there on the A, 1st fret on the D, 2nd fret on the G, open B string. Just pick from the A string, D, G, B, and that's the whole thing. Just repeat that. Now, the picking that I would suggest using, I think most people, some people would alternate pick this. It's a lot really smooth if you can just pretty much always pick in the direction of the next string you're going to be picking. So if I'm picking this, I'm going to pick that down, 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 then an upstroke on the G string. Why? Because that upstroke is going to take me back towards the low E string, which is the next string that needs to be picked. So I'm always picking in the direction of the string I'm going to be hitting next. And then when you're doing that right there, you can do all downstrokes. It's slow enough. I would suggest probably all downstrokes. And then from there, just try to always pick in the direction of the next string, and it's you're going to be good to go. All right, so now after we've done that riff a couple times entering the song, the verse starts the song, and that's when we start strumming some rhythms. So this is he's going to play this a couple different ways. So this first time you hear it play, it's mostly power chords. The first chord's an E minor chord, then power chord. And then as he goes later on in the song, when the solos start picking up, those power chords become full major chords. So you can just start with the basic E minor chord, and then just this G power chord. This is the first time, couple times you hear this progression, it's just gonna be a power chord. So it's just the 3rd fret on the low E, 5th on the A, 5th on the D, and then take it up to the 5th fret, so it's an A power chord. And then up to the 8th fret, and then back down to 7. So after doing that progression just one time there for the verse, it goes back to that same picking pattern. Then back. All right, then we get to that picking pattern again. It's just the same picking pattern done 4 times instead of just once or twice. So that's the chorus as it gets to that part where it's really kind of keeping that thing going. All right, and then it goes back into the same kind of sequence again, just rotating back and forth between that chord sequence. But about the 3rd time you start playing that, it goes full major. So it's kind of the same rhythm. We're just going to fully flesh out these chords now. So it starts with the E minor chord. So this is going on just underneath the long solos and stuff. It's really just kind of built up the chord progression underneath it to make it sound a little bit bigger. Then we're just at a full G major chord. So this 3rd chord here, it's the 3 chord in E minor. So this G major is the 3 chord. So it's a full bar at the 3rd fret, then the 4th fret there on the G, 5th fret there on the D, and 5th fret on the A. So this, I'm going to use this chord shape the rest of the time. So that would make it the 3 chord in E natural minor. All right, and now we're going to move up to A. So now this is going to be an A major chord. So we're still in E minor, right? But before we were playing A minor, so now it's A major. We have that kind of, those choices we can make in minor. So what this A minor is out of natural minor, E natural minor. So 4 chord in E natural minor. But he goes and he plays the 4 chord in melodic minor. It's a major chord. Still, it's just E minor. You can freely switch between the two. Whether he knows this or not, I'm sure he did, but intuitively he probably just liked the sound of it. But then we just go up to this C major chord, which is the 6th chord in natural minor and harmonic. And then that B major chord, which is once again at harmonic minor. So all together. So let's get to the solo. So those are just the only thing. For the rest of the song is pretty much that chord progression. Whenever you hear that under these solos and stuff, it's just those full major chords. So let's talk about Alvin's solo. Now, this is a kind of I have a blues rock boot camp course in my academy, and we talk about this exact thing because all the great blues rock guitar players, every single one of them that I cover, I go back from all the way to the 60s all the way to today. All the major players in that scene, it's obvious they're all visualizing the fretboard in the exact same way. Their solos, usually 98% of the time, fit within these two very specific frameworks. For just one of them are being used in this solo, and 100% of this solo is within this framework. So what is this framework? So he's playing E minor pentatonic. So we all know maybe you don't know, but once again, I know it's on electric, the actual solo, but we're going to learn it here. So we have just that basic E minor pentatonic pattern. So that's 15-12 on the high E string, 15-12 on the B, 14-12 on the G and the D and the A, and then 15-12 again on the low E string. All right, so what are they doing to this form that makes it a little bit more musical and a little bit more usable? Well, he's extending it a little bit. So we're going to go. So to talk about this, so there's two basic forms that are being used in most blues rock, and they add small little extensions on each one to make it extend the length of the range of the pattern, but also make it comfortable to play. So anyway, so that upper range, when we get up here to the G string, you can go up here a couple of ways. You can go, which you will in the solo. So 12, 15 on the B, and then shift up to that 17th fret there. So now we're in the 15th position, which is where our index finger's at. And here we're technically in the next pentatonic form. And we have played 15, 17 on those two strings. Now we can also get up here by doing this. Play 12, 14 on the G string, shift up to 16. And that shifts us into the next scale form, and then we'll continue with the same two notes on the high two, the B and the high E. So it's basically we're extending the range. It's kind of extending the range of that scale pattern up higher, but he also goes lower with it and extends it down there. Typically, you're not going to use this low E string in this form. It's usually not used. It's done like that. So when we get to the A string, so 14 on the A, you shift down to 12, and then you're in the lower pentatonic form. So you play 12-10 on the A and 12-10 on the low E string, and resolve it back down to the E, up to the E. So these E's right here, you hear a lot of the solo kind of resolve, the phrases. All right, so the entire solo is right there. So I think if you could just take it. Just have a field day with those notes right there, and I'd actually think it's a great kind of ear training exercise. if you have this knowledge going, all right, 100% of this solo, every fill that he does in this song is within this exact framework with these two extensions. So you go, sometimes slide down that from 16 to 14. Or he'll just stay in this form all the way up top. So it's great to go, okay, now try to figure out the solo. You know the exact notes that he's playing. It's all going to be within here. So kind of he's sing these little melodic phrases he does, and then figure out where they're at. They're all within them. You might be bending into some notes or whatever, but it's all within that very specific one area of the fretboard with two extensions. That is it. So I think it's fun to kind of see if you can figure it out yourself. And if you can, it's a great workout, little ear training thing, and it kind of will get your ear connected with your fingers better to be able to do your own improvisations. So anyway, that is it for I'd Love to Change the World. It's a pretty simple song, like harmonically. It's got that really cool arpeggiated sequence, but the chord progression is pretty simple, and the solo is not simple like necessarily to play, but it should be relatively simple to understand. It's all in E minor pentatonic, and he uses a very small area of the fretboard to navigate the entire thing. So take that knowledge and see if you can not transcribe the whole thing, but kind of emulate it, and that's just as good. You'll learn just as much. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.